When you've been in this game long enough, you start to see patterns. And there are three types of business owners that you generally come across. And really, only one of them gets rich in every sense of the word. Wealthy. It's not just making money, it's being able to do what you want when you want, anytime you want, right? And so let's go over who these people are. But before we go into that, what's up? My name is Dean Soto. I am the president and founder of ProSulum, PROSULUM.com. And we are a virtual staffing agency. And as a virtual staffing agency, you've probably heard of remote workers, virtual assistants, and so on and so forth. You give them a task, they ask a ton of questions, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hopefully they do it right. Well, we have something a little bit different. We call them virtual systems architects. You give them a task, they document step by step exactly what you showed them in you give them a 5-minute video, 10-minute video, boom, boom, boom. They document it in no questions. They do it right because they have a step-by-step checklist. And you give them another task and another and another. 30 tasks later, that's 30 tasks that you never, ever have to do again. Everyone in your business knows how to do it because there is a process, visual process document generated. The VSA could do it. You could do it. Anybody else on your team could do it. Your grandma can do it. That's how awesome these are. So if that sounds good to you, go to www.prosulum.com, www.prosulum.com, and let's go and get into this. So I'm in my office, and I live out in the countryside, and I left my door open the other day, and a mouse or something must have gotten in and died because it does not smell good in here. And I have mouse traps around, and I don't know where the heck it could be other than up in the ceilings, but I don't know how it got into the above ceilings, if that's the case. But man, it is my this will keep me awake during this entire session. So you do not want to be in the same place I am because it smells like death right now. And hopefully I can find it. I'm going to have to empty this entire place out because this sucks. Anyway, all right. So only one gets rich. Okay? Let's get into this. As you've seen in the majority of the videos that we do on this channel, that I've done on this channel, most people who run a business end up getting trapped. I ended up getting trapped in several of my businesses. Everybody that I know at some point got trapped because the majority of the work fell upon them. There was no process. There was nothing being documented. There was no knowledge transfer via procedure, policy, process, and so on. And because of that, when something bad happens, guess who gets called in? Guess who gets their phone ringing while they're on vacation? Guess who gets customers calling them? That's right, you, the business owner. And so we always want to strive to stop working in the business and start working on it. Great books out there, E-Myth Revisited, Clockwork, Work the System, even Rework to an extent, but it's not really about process. Go watch The Profit on TV. The Profit is great because it shows how businesses run: people, process, and profit, or people, process, and product. We want to get away from that, okay? And I've stressed that over and over in these videos, and so we don't really truly have to go fully into it. You can go and check out those videos and start learning that a successful business is a documented business, okay? Because otherwise you're building a job. No matter what, you're going to be called back because nobody knows how to do. You might have somebody who knows how to do certain things over here, but then something goes wrong over here. They don't know how to do that. Okay. It's all up in their head, and they don't know how to do any knowledge transfer or anything like that. A real business runs without you. That's why Steve Jobs, when he was alive, he had Pixar, he had Next, he had Apple, and so on and so forth. Right? He was able to do all those different things because he had procedures and process built into the business itself. Okay. This allows you to turn your business into an asset. If you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, an asset puts money in your pocket without you having to do anything, and a liability takes money out of your pocket. Okay. We want to build that asset where money is being made without you doing anything at all. Okay. Okay, so you have it's so funny. You have the overwhelmed. Keep in mind, if you've not been on my channel before, all of these slides, every single slide that you see done is done by AI. And majority of the time they spell things right and do things right and so on. But I have a super-based knowledge database that AI goes to, understands everything about my business, goes through, I give it an idea of what I want to talk about, and it starts creating the slides for me. 10 minutes later, I have a whole deck of slides. Sometimes, as you can see in this particular slide, you get some funny little mistakes. So you have the overwhelmed business owner, which is really the overwhelmed. You have the delegating, which is really the abdicating business owner. And then you have the systems owner. Okay. These are the three main types of business owner. Okay. So the overwhelmed business owner, these do everything themselves. Okay. No one can do it like I can. These are what, in the E-Myth Revisited, what Michael Gerber would call the technician. They were really, really, really good at what they did in the corporate world. And they take that, which is, there's nothing wrong with this, is great. They take that and then they try to transfer it over to running a business. And because they think that they are the best of the best of the best, and they might be, they don't know how to create process and systems to allow others to do what they do. Okay. Tim Cook, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates may have been the best of the best of the best at what they did, but they found ways to get talent and harness that talent in a process-driven way to build what they wanted to build that was in their mind, right? You typically, the overwhelmed business owner is working 60 plus hours a week, constantly putting out fires, and really your revenue plateaus may at best 500K. Okay, sometimes maybe more, depends on what it is, but more often than not, it plateaus at 500K. Now, making 500K working 80 hours a week versus making 500K working 5 hours a week or less, very, very, very big difference. Okay. So this is where the understanding of time versus what's being brought in is not really important to the overwhelmed business owner until things start really crashing. Their marriage, relationships with their kids, relationships with their with their workers, if they have any, the business itself, clients, and so on. They can't really scale beyond their personal capacity, and it ends up just completely burning out and burning out before there's any type of breakthrough. Okay. And there's really no leverage to multiply results because it's based off of how hard you're working, how long you're working. You go on vacation or something bad happens to you, boom, everything starts to crash. The delegating business owner, which is really the abdicating. Abdicating, if you don't know what that word is, basically it's when a king abdicates the throne, they leave the throne. It's empty. Okay. The delegating business owner basically is like they are abdicating the role of being a visionary, and they are really micromanaging other people when they should be the king that is, or a queen that is showing the vision, guiding people, moving forward to different places. They relinquish the control of that. They relinquish the creative visionary role, and they move toward micromanaging people. And they're constantly training and retraining. Revenue grows, but every time it does, it's more and more headaches because they're the ones they're still using their time to direct everybody on a constant basis. The thing is, as he or she hires more people, more problems and more problems and more problems arise. And they make more money, but still working 80 hours a week or more, plus the headaches of more people, which ends up becoming extremely stressful. People are not systems. You might have 5 amazing people, but none of those 5 people can read each other's minds. So one goes away, your HR person. Let's say they get sick for 2 weeks, and you're in a hiring spree for a project. Maybe you're in construction. You're trying to get contractors to come and do something, hire contractors. Now you have no system, and you can't hire contractors. So now projects start falling behind. Okay, because that one person, they might be great, but when they're gone, things die. Or your property management. I've seen this before. I worked with a property management company that I was consulting for, and they had a great team, but every month they had to do the disbursements of owner payments. And there was one person who knew how to do that, and she worked her butt off. And when if she got sick, then owners didn't get their pay, and then owners got pissed off and left the entire, that they didn't want to be clients of the property management company anymore. Nobody knew how to do her job. Nobody had the authority to do her job. It was super vulnerable position. And if there was no backup, since there was no backup, it grinded everything to a halt. And so with this, you have high turnover costs, you have bottlenecks for decisions, no standardized processes, and your growth is limited, right? Then you have the systems owner. The systems owner builds systems for all of his people and himself. The systems owner documents everything. Everything gets documented. And when things change, it gets updated. Okay? Which creates predictable outcomes. And the business runs without them. This allows you to scale because let's say you have 10 people and now you're making way more money, but you need to hire 10 more people. Who is doing the hiring? Who's doing the training? Who's doing all of that? Well, when you have systems, you can have a group doing the hiring, and then you just do the last sign off. And you have groups doing the training because you have documented process to train people. Not you. Your staff can train. Your staff can show. And this is how you have companies that have hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of employees. All documentation, all systems and process. This allows the business to run without you. You can go and do what you do best, like me. I'm doing this right now in a freaking office that smells like dead mouse. Not the dead mouse musician, but a dead mouse or something like that in here. Oh, man. Once I'm done with this, I am clearing this place out. What the heck? the I could do this. I can spend time complaining about all this and make money. Like literally, I had a payment come in as I was recording this because I have a team that has systems that that it allows them to do things without me. There's predictable growth. There's true freedom and wealth, not just for me, but for my team. They are free to do their best work because they have guardrails, they have tracks to go on, and it's scalable without personal limits. And there's that great quote by Michael Gerber in the E-Myth Revisited. It says, if your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you own a job. And then to add it, he says, and it's the worst job in the world because it sucks because you get sucked in working 80 plus hours a week. So this is why we focus so much at Prosulum on documentation. You document, you replicate, and scale. This is the freedom framework. Document, replicate, scale. Document, replicate, scale. It's easy when you have a virtual systems architect. It's kind of the cheat code, but you can do it. You can do it yourself. You can do it any other way. You shoot a 5-minute video, they document it, and then it gets done. Shoot a 10-minute video, they document it, then it gets done. Something changes, an update happens. That's one of the biggest things is that people would say, yeah, I did documented systems and processes for a while, but things would change and then I'd have to go and re-update it, or other people would have to update it, and it just never would happen. Well, all you have to do is hop on and do a 5-minute little update video, give it to your VSA. It gets then say, hey, update process 2.06. Boom. Now it's updated. That's it. It's not a big deal, right? Or if your staff says, hey, I noticed that this changed, you then say, oh, okay, no problem. Did you figure out how to do it? Yeah. Okay. Document how the change, and then let's move on. That's it. Pretty dang cool. Okay. Document, replicate, scale. With or without a virtual systems architect, with or without us, this is how you become free. Systems plus outsourcing. Systems is the key. Okay. You're going to have you can take on as many clients as possible. You can handle things as a business owner so much easier because you're focused on the things that you're good at, because everything else is running in the background, right? You can do strategy, you can be a visionary, you can grow your business. And all of the other processes are handled by the systems, by your staff following step by step how to do something. You can measure, you can see, you can have a dashboard. You become a true CEO when you think in this way. All right, so which type are you? Do you work 50 plus hours a week? Be honest. If this is you, raise your hand. There's nothing wrong with it. I was there. Then you're probably not number 3. You're probably not a systems owner. Can you leave your business for 2 weeks and it still be fine? Have you tried? Are you scared to? Do you have documented systems for your core processes, for everything that would just allow your business to run without you? And is your growth in any way limited by your personal capacity? This is where your ability to systemize, document comes into play so much. If any of these, if you work more than 40 hours a week, if you can't let your business run 2 or more weeks without you, if you don't have documented systems, is if your growth is limited by your personal capacity, then the time to make the shift to process and systems is now. Obviously, you don't have to do it with us. ProSolum VSAs, they're the cheat codes. You just show a video, boom, 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 they document it, and then they'll do it. And they're half the cost of your typical in-house employee usually, especially here in California. Half the cost of minimum wage. You can do it with others. Okay? You can do it with your own team. You just need to do it. But if you want the cheat code, go to www.prosolum.com. Go check us out. Or go to www.prosolum.com/schedule and hop on a call with us and see if a virtual systems architect is right for you. Because I have a feeling that you might be pleasantly surprised that it's far cheaper than your average labor person, than your in-house person. Far, far, far better skill-wise, and you're building a scalable business. So if that sounds good to you, go check us out, prosolum.com/schedule. With that, my name's Dean. I'm going to go solve this problem that's in my office right now, and I'll see you in the next video.